Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whichever time zone you happen to be in. Welcome to week 4, the ARMA team, the ARMA League, ARMA Team League. Yeah, words are hard. This is Veggie coming with you once again. I'll be flying solo tonight. I will do my best to provide a high level of commentary compared to my usual level, although based on that intro I can't promise much. So yes, we'll be getting underway very shortly. Once again, we'll go over the stats here. Here's the current standings as we move into week 4. Australian AU NSW Wanderers extending their lead out at this point to just over about 140 points. Of course, that can easily be brought down within the next two Hanchans even. So they'll be vigilant to, to try and keep themselves within that upper half of the table. And as we were talking about last week, the spread of points is fine at this point. No team is out of it, even, as we move into the last week of the first half of the league. Still everything to play for. And yeah, AU and SW Wonders with a strong league currently, but that can very rapidly change. All the players, all the teams have strong players on them to have any sort of a turnaround be possible. I'll once again show the graph off that Hombre puts up every week in the Discord for those of you who don't see it. Here's a nice visual representation of how the standings have changed over the games each week. So, I mean, you can see, a team here who was after the first 4 games in dead last, they've already moved back up to be mid pack. So, yeah, it's more than doable. I know, based on the teams that I played for in the past, sometimes they'll be dipping into negatives and then ending, strongly at the end of the season. So, yeah. Looking forward to what we will be seeing as the league continues. But, moving on to this week, we'll be viewing 2 games tonight. The first game will be featuring J-Cakes playing for his first games of the league. So, very privileged and honored to be able to commentate on those. Also, LMMN will be playing in the next game, and we'll be watching their game also. Next game, right? Make sure I haven't got that wrong. I'm pretty sure I had that right. Yeah, LMMD, sorry. Words are very hard. This is not the right. Hold on one sec. Wasn't I in? What happened here? Oh, I know what I did. Silly stuff. So yes, I have up. Put that into full screen and head here. So I've added on per request the commentators. Myself just tonight. But I've also added on the players in the top left, along with their teams, just in case. Just to keep it up so everyone can see it easily, basically. And yeah, so you'll see tonight we are watching Table 2, featuring Eramangasaurus, Rondevo, Ron Junkin, Sumo, and Itsu Anko, and their representatives Nasty, Kikchan, Pezzy, and Muran. So we'll be waiting for this to go. Oh, I don't have my Tenho table visible. There we are. I was testing stuff and had it hidden. My mistakes. So yeah, this should be going live within the next 2 minutes. We'll keep the music rolling, just for a bit of background noise. I think I have it at a exceptional level currently. acceptable level. Is looking forward to it. J Cakes, obviously, for those you don't know, one of the very several Ho-Oh players on Tenho that we have within the Australian community. Nasty is also a Ho-Oh level player, so we'll be featuring two heavy hitters on this table. Pezzy and Moran, both also very good players. I expect to see some great gameplay, and we are underway. So we're following Moran first in the dealer's seat. 7 Man as the Dora for East 1. We do see one of those currently, so 3 left in the wall. Moran, some very nice shapes here to work with. They can immediately make use of Dora. They've got pairs, they've got, you know, an East Wind that if with 3 left in the wall as well, they can easily hope to draw one and, you know, get towards the hand, but they do just choose to discard it, just going for more of a speed focused hand, which is more than acceptable. J-Cakes, who I'll be calling him J-Cakes because Chan, obviously not everyone here can read Japanese, so we'll be calling him J-Cakes just to make that simple. He has 2 pairs of dragon tiles, both the Haku and the Hatsu, green and the white. Based on their first couple discards, looks like they might be just hoping to get some calls off, go for something quick and cheap, maybe pick up a Dora. But Muran does hit Tenpai on a Richi Pinfu Dora 1, waiting on the 5 and 2 pins. As for how many we have left, we see 2 5s, we see 1 2, so that would leave there to be 5 remaining in the wall. Very good weight for them. There's also Tanyao in there also. Gee. So, Richi, I don't know why I'm lagging, sorry about that. That's strange. Nasty does pick up another pair, another one of the 5 pins though. So they actually holding on to a couple of the wakes. Jay with another call here moves to Tenpai, waiting on also the 5 8. Not just the 5 pin, but also the 8 pin. 2 8 pins, 2 8 pin gone, one in Pezzy's hand, so they'll be waiting for just the one. Obviously, if any of the other players discard one, it will be head bump by Muran over Jay. Nasty picking up a third 5 pin, so the 5 pins are all locked up at this point, unless Nasty decides to discard one. And a 6 pin here for Pezzy will probably lock up that 8 pin as well, so we'll be looking for the last 8 pin in the wall for Jay here. Although he has broken his Tenpai, so we'll see if he manages to get back into Tenpai. This hand does pick up a red dragon, but does decide to discard it. He could potentially have gone for some sort of a Shosangan weight, but yeah, not really worth at this point. Pezzy very close to a Tenpai here. But yeah, 2 pin gets drawn here by Moran, Richi, Sumo, Pinfu, Tanyao, Dora. I'm gonna try and reload the window and see if that fixes this tearing. I'm not too sure what's causing that. Sorry about that. I do like to put it in full screen, it just keeps it neater generally, but if it continues being problematic, I will just go into normal mode. I'll fix around the scene to match that. So, Dealer Mangan here for Moran. Takes us into East 1, Homba 1. They start with 2 Ankos of the Tuso and the West Wind. So they could maybe hope to get towards some sort of a Sun Anko hand. Elsewhere on the table, Jay also has some very nice shapes to work with. Muran choosing to open with a pawn of the 9 man. San Anko is still on the table, but we're probably just looking at some sort of a toy hand here at this point. That does immediately throw the Dora upon drawing it. Elsewhere, Nosti has a lot of pairs. He has 4 pairs in hand currently. Unless he chooses to break some, he'll probably be looking at Chitoitsu. 7 pairs. Moran picks up a red dragon and decides to hold on to it for now, getting rid of the 9 so. Nosti draws another 9 so to go with his current 2, so they might also be considering Sananko, Toy sort of hands, depending on what they draw. Pezzi, opposite us, looks to be going for a more traditional hand. They've had to go through a lot of honor tiles, which has slowed down their progression, unfortunately. Jay also looking to get Tenpai. They are Ishan 10. And with that 8 mana call, Moran has moved to Tenpai, waiting on Chun Tanki, which comes out from Pezzi. Still trying to work through his honors, and they've discarded them in the wrong order, unfortunately. So, toy hand here for Moran. Moves us into East 1 Homba 3. Dora being the San So, the free So itself. His hands fairly average hands on the table here. Nosti maybe has the best shapes here to work with. Jay also might be looking at more of an Itsu with those Pinzu tiles. He does have a Dora, which he's already linked up with a Forso, so can easily make use of that. It depends on the hand progression, obviously. Does choose to discard the 9 pins, so Itsu probably not on the table for him at this point. Everything else looking fairly standard. Moran's hands, a lot of shapes to work around. He has an outside chance at a 1/2 Frisan Shoku, depending if he happens to draw all the necessary tiles for that. Jay does complete his rearmament of the Dora, so he is now not quite Ishanten. No, not yet. Oh no, that is Ishanten. Depending on what he draws, I believe. I'm actually really bad at counting Shantans. It's something I've never personally worked on. Just sort of let the tiles come as they come. Pezzi looks to be heading towards a Chitoitsu hand, which they are Ishanten for. Depending if they manage to avoid picking up the 1/1, they can also throw in a Tanya for that. Jay does hit his Tenpai, waiting on the 2/5 pin. Richi, Pinfu, Tanyao, and 3 hand minimum here, and Dora, so 4. Again, counting is hard. The weights aren't that good for him, however. He sees one of the 5 pins. 2 others are tied up in hands currently, as well as 2 of the 2 pins. 3 of the 2 pins. So he is waiting on 2 weights. He obviously can just draw it. Otherwise, he'll be hoping one of his players will break up shapes. At this current stage, it's hard to say. Pinzu don't really look good against Jay in general. Players would have to be hitting some sort of a good hand to hopefully try and discard a 2 or 5 pin into Jay's pond currently as it stands. 8 pin was one of the draws. The 1 man does come out. Nosti had hit Tenpai 2 turns ago. Damaten on Pinfu Arca 3. To move us on to East 2. We have a North Wind Dora. Pei Tanki. Be on lookout for that. There are a couple players within the ARMA community who do enjoy themselves a nice Pei Tanki weight. Especially when it's a Dora. Quick South Pon here by Pezzi, opening up their hand with their Yakuhai being in the south seat. I have some good shapes to call with. That I'll be looking to take a quick win here and take the dealership off Jay, who is in third place ahead of them. And Nosti again with a hand that has good shapes also. They can choose to open, they can choose to keep this closed. It depends on where they decide to take the hand. Muran here with two of the Arcadors. Quite close to Tempai, Ishantan in fact, yes. And that will be their Tempai. Richie, Ipeiko, Dora 2. Waiting on the 2-5 so, of which 4 of those are in Jay's hand and 2 others are in Pezzy's hand. So, 1 of each remaining in the wall. That 4-so draw might cause the 2-so to end up floating out of Jay's hand, depending on how he wishes to play it out. We'll have to see what happens there. Meanwhile, Pezzy is also Ishanten. With just the 3-pin, it comes out to 2-so to Jay. Each pin for Ipeiko, Arca 2 for Mangan. Puts Moran into over 40k points. Good start for them. Very strong start. And Jay losing out on his dealer turn there, falling into last place. We'll have to play a bit of catch up moving forward. He's pretty good at that. With a ton call, makes a good start. 6-man Dora into this hand. 2 of them are in Pezzy's hand. They'll probably be looking to open. He's picked up an Arcador to go with that. You want to try and cash in quickly on your dealer turn here, especially with a ton call already in the table. In my opinion, at least. Depending on how quick their hand progresses. Nosti also with a nice hand, developing good shapes. They can choose to open up, get a Tanyao. If they have to pick up a Dora, and they can get rid of that 9-man. Pezzy completes their Hanchan there, which was probably the biggest hindrance for their hand. So they are in fact Ishanten. Option here for Jay to call, which they do not take. Bit of a tough call, that one. He's rewarded immediately with a Hatsu draw from Pezzy, which they can pawn. Pezzy hits their Tempai. Discarding the 5-man, waiting on 1 4-man for Richie. Richie pin through Dora 3 for a Mangan. And Nosti initially looks like they're folding out of the hand. The 6 pin's a bit of a hard cut here. That'll be a bit difficult to move forward there. Picks up another of the 4-mans. But they are... No, yeah, he's just probably folding out of his hand. Not much value to push with. He keeps getting off the choice to perhaps consider getting back into Tenpai. As for other weights, 2 1-mans are left and 1 4-man. There's definitely still sumo potential on the table here for Pezzy, which would move their hand up to Hanuman. That's a Miskani, which Pinfu Sumo Dora 3, yeah, that would be Hanuman. I do know how to score, thankfully. Jay's probably out of the hand at this point. Last thing you want to deal is to deal into Pezzy here. With the current point situation, you put yourself very far behind. So it is understandable. That 7-pin cut by Nosti was a decision here from Moran. They do end up taking the 5-pin, which does put them into Tenpai, but with no Yaku. If they wish to maintain it, they will deal in here. Still a chance for them to get back into Tenpai. Jay also has a chance to move back into Tenpai here with that other 1-man pickup. So I believe they're just waiting on the last 4-man now. That would be Tenpai if he wishes to push the 7-so. There's the last 4-man. So this will be moving to Rikyoku, I imagine. It does push the 7-so, and Rikyoku is reached. Just Jay and Pezzy Tenpai in the end. And we'll move on to Humble 1 East 3. Iso is the Dora here. Both Pezzy and Moran with 1 in hand, though neither connected currently. Nosti over here does have quite a good hand. They are close to Tenpai already. What is that? That is the Shanten. Not sure what direction I want to take the hand. We'll have to see. They could call it Chun and wait on Doratanki, or they could do something else. Depending on their draws, they could even maybe move into a Sanshoku as well. 1, 2, 3. No one else is immediately as close to Tenpai as Nosti. Jay has the potential to get there. Might also be eyeing up the potential Sanshoku here. Does take this chi at least. Can choose to take another one, but that will kill the Sanshoku. But he does go of it. So he is Tenpai waiting on the Haku and 6-so, but the Haku will be the only one that will give him Yaku, of which there's only 1 left, which he knows. So he's banking on the fact here that it will be discarded if it comes out. Nosti is also Tenpai waiting on the 2-so for this Sanshoku Dora 1 hand, of which there are 3 left. 2 left, my mistake, Jay has 1. And Pezzy is moving toward the Tenpai, but they will have to drop a 1-so, most likely to take it. And that's a little bit scary on this board. Jay's presenting what at least appears to be a Honitsu. There's the last Haku, which does immediately come out by Moran. Jay takes his 1,000 point hand, which is of course boosted by the Honba end of stick from the last round to move him back up to 1,500 points, within immediate striking range of 3rd place, which is exactly where he wants to be considering the start of the game. And East 4 here now. 5-so Dora, very active Dora, and we do see 2 of them currently. Very nice hands all around here. Moran can call Ton to progress his hand rather quickly, or they can, you know, simply draw into everything. Jay with a lot of Manzu tiles. Keeping the idea of a Honitsu open, at least for now. I have to see exactly what he wants to do with that. Pezzy, on the other hand, some nice shapes to work with. He's got a Dora connected via Ryanman. Yeah, they've got a couple awkward shapes. They've got a Penchan, they've got a Kanchan. But with the right draws, that hand could definitely progress very rapidly. Nosti, very close to Tenpai already here once again. He does also have a Penchan, which he is looking to cut at this stage. 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6. Yeah, it's a pretty good shape. Does get rid of the Itsu, but you know, the Itsu is a bit rough to get from here, a bit slow. Okay, Jay might be considering Chitoitsu, but they do have just a chance for a regular hand here. They draw, you know, either 6 or 9 man. That depends exactly what he draws, or you know, what happens to if he wants to call something weird. Pezzy, meanwhile, has moved themselves to Ishanten. Still waiting on something to connect to this Dora Ryanman. Nosti moving himself to I believe that is a better Ishanten than he was on previously. The 6-0 is ponned here by Moran, who has picked up a ton of Anko in the meantime, so they are Tenpai on the 3-0 for East only. And now Nosti is also Dharmaten here, waiting on the 3-6-0 for I believe it's Tanyao only. Pezzy does hit their Tenpai, waiting on the 2-5 pin. They see a lot of them in the pond. In fact, there's only one of each left, I believe. One of each left in the wall. Only 16 tiles left. There's not a bad chance that one's gonna come out. Jay choosing to hold on to the Chun as he only sees one in the pond. He sees 2 actually, but might just be choosing to keep it for a safe tile maybe. 5 man here from Nosti is a bit spicy against the dealer. And same with the 7 man. Moran chooses to cut the Frieza, which is safe against the Dealerichi. Not the Dealerichi, just the Richi, sorry, my mistake. Jay's moved back into Tenpai, waiting on the 1-4-0 for Ipeko Pinfu, yes, and Dora. There's the 6-0, which Moran needed earlier. Unfortunately, they have had to fold away the Tenpai. They do regain it here. There's the remaining 2 pin. Which Jay does Sumagiru Richi into the Richi. Richi Pinfu Dora. And Jay loses the progress he made in the last hand, unfortunately. Which does move us on to the 7th round. So, quick analysis of where we sit. Moran here is the first dealer with the lead. Then we're looking to try and extend that lead out a bit further to make the first comfy. Nosti is pressuring with only about, you know, a 9,000 point gap. It is quite close. Pezzi has a bit of work to do to catch up, but he's only about 10,000 points behind Nosti also. But being nearly 20,000 behind first, it feels like a bit much. Of course, you are trying to get this first. First are very, very strong in the format. And Jay is in last place, but very good player Jay is, so I'm not counting them out just yet. Moving forward with the hand, let's have a quick scope here. Liking the nook of Nosti's hand, but I don't think it's actually as good as it looks. Our dealer here is looking quite good actually. They are Ishanten. They are hanging a door right now. 4-pin would be really good for them, but you're gonna take whatever Tenpai comes naturally. And there is the Tenpai, which they do keep Dharma for now. Waiting on the 4-7. The 4-pin actually would be Sanshoku as well, so it's quite a strong weight. Probably didn't want to scare the table.
Wrong.
But he will take the 7-pin as it's offered. Which is the Yasune, obviously, but you're dealer, so you get to go again. He was moving towards a quite nicely looking Honitsu hand there. I was just looking at. Unfortunately, unable to realize it. They do have a quite nice starting hand here, though. One man is the Dora here, of which we see two. One in Nosti's hand, one in Moran's hand. Moran also with an Ankh of Hatsu can make for quite a quick win if they choose to open up and push it. Nosti filling that Penchan there, connecting that Dora. Very nice. He's actually Ishanten with that. Jay also very close. He's I think 2 Shanten there. And Nosti, that Friso, I believe opens up this hand even better than it was. Wide Shanten, I believe. Also here from Moran, good pickup. They'd have to maybe discard the Dora here. They can obviously just throw the 7-man also. They throw the 1-pin for now, which is also, it was hanging also, so that's fine. I believe Jay might be looking to try and get a Itsu here. It's sort of the natural outcome of the hand regardless. Pezzi also has moved towards potential Sanshoku of their own to match up with the one from last round. And Nosti still trying to figure out a way to Tenpai this hand. This Chi is accepted here by Moran, moving them into Tenpai, waiting on Dora for a Haku Dora freehand. This is the issue with these kinds of when you start with these dragon Ankos, it can make a hand all of a sudden very expensive out of nowhere, which Jay's about to find out. For another dealer Mangan from Moran. Very unfortunate for Jay. And East South 1 Homba 2 here. I just realized, is my mouse on the screen? No, it's not. I'm lucky. It might have been just on the edge. I was just like, ooh, no. Not the hanging mouse cursor. Okay, so from here, Moran looks to be considering a potential Honitsu, holding on to each of the dragons for now. Meanwhile, Nasty has been clearing out a lot of Manzu. They've also got a lot of Pinzu, so Honitsu, might be on the tables here. South could probably come out from him now, unless he wants to keep it for safety. He just, throws the free mon, it's fine. Meanwhile, Pezzy, with some pretty good shapes here. Also with a lot of Pinzu. I think you might see a bit of a hold on the Pinzu tiles having anything happen. Here comes this tearing again. I'm not sure what's making this happen. I'm just gonna full screen again. That seemed to work last time. And Jay has a couple shapes here to fill, but not too far from a Tenpai themselves. Haku Pon by Moran gets them closer to this Honitsu. They've got this Chun in hand, of which, even though none have been discarded yet, none of the other players have any. So good odds for him to pick one up here, hopefully. Dora option for Jay here to Khan. He does hit his Tenpai, and there's this tearing. Waiting on the Freeman here for a Richidora free. Now this Chun in Moran's hand feels a bit spicy. They want to hit some other sort of Tenpai. It's a bit difficult here to discard. Cutting the Genbutsu free pin for now. Up on the Aka 5-man draw. Know that Nasty had picked up a pair of the South Winds in the end, but do cut them for a safe tile here. Chun does come out from Moran. Upon the 8-so draw, which is very close to the Richi tile. Takes. Pezzy is also Ishanten. So we could see an Oikake Richi from then. 5-man here from Jay will clear the 5-man discard from Moran, if they choose to do so. One pin here could be pawned away. I'm not too sure why this tearing is happening. I'm just gonna leave this like this for now. Just gonna quickly fix up the scene a bit, so my subpar commentary will be paused here for a moment. Just do like that. There we go. That looks acceptable. It's acceptable enough. Gee. I'm assuming the full screen's happening. Is the full screen is what's causing that tearing. Here's another Tenpai here for Moran if they choose to go back to that Honitsu, but they have discarded the North Winds already, and they are dead. So yeah, not a great decision. And the 8-so. It hurts, I think, as a player when you see all these times you've just chosen to discard the wrong tile. Nossi's trying to hit a Tenpai here, but yeah, it looks like they're not going to quite get there. There's one free man left in the wall here, so Jay can draw it right here, but he does not. And it was dead walled, unfortunate. The Rikyoku here, just Jay and Moran 10 pipe. So we'll be seeing a continuation here of this dealership. With that Rikyoku, Jay does manage to get himself back positive again. So yeah, small gains, small victories. But Southwind Dora here. None of the players have any currently. I know, well, Moran had one, but they do throw it on the starting turn because fast hand, as I did not quite realize, I was just double checking the scene. Use Tenpai here for Richi Pinfu Dora waiting on the 5-8 man. It isn't the most ideal early reach if you're trying to run off somebody because the 5-8s will probably end up sitting in their hands. Pezzy does have a hanging 8-man currently, so that might cause problems for them later if they're unable to match it with anything. It all depends on how much the players want to push against this early Richi. You know, I feel like there's a couple different schools of thought in this. You can either choose to just, you know, ignore it and play around Suji, or you know, respect it and just basically fold the hand outright. Especially, you know, a dealer Richi who's already in a very commanding lead. Looks like for the most part the players are playing fairly cautiously. Nosti's holding on to a Chun here, which is safe. Pezzy still with this this hanging 8-man. I do worry for them. There's a 7-man that can save him. Chooses to cut the west here, which I think is a very nice decision. In terms of weights, I think there's what, 2 8-mans, 1 5-man left here for our dealer. That is not quite Tenpai, but very close. You can even, if they manage to pick up a free so, they can discard a 6-so Genbutsu here. Which they do. They do keep it Damaten, waiting on the free 6-pin. Might be a good decision because there's only one left of each currently, and he's just picked up the deal in 8-man tile.
Wrong.
Which they do throw the other one in. Unfortunate. They did save themselves a Richi stick there. It's really, really unfortunate for Pezzy. The rich get richer. Honba 4 here now. Pezzy with a lot of honor tiles in hand. At this point, you start to consider exactly how much you want to go for Shosushi or Daisushi. you know, something along those lines when you see 2 pairs and then a hanging third. They do pass the first Northwind which was offered. It isn't Yakuhai, and they pass the second one as well, so we'll have to see where they decide to take the hand from here. If it was me, you'd go for it and hope for dreams. I love me a good Yakuman chase. That's fine. Elsewhere, so with the 1-so Dora, currently we see Nosti with 1. Muran did just draw 1 last turn, but they did discard it. They are collecting a lot of Pinzu tiles here. Meanwhile, Nosti is Ishanten for some kind of Richi Pinfu Dora 1 hand. And Jay looks like to be considering a 1-2-3 San Shoku of some kind. Or maybe a 2-3-4, which would be a bit easier to pick up, but he's a little bit... Well, I mean, it's not bad. It keeps the Dan Yao in as well. There is the 2-man. So he just throws the south for now, which is perfectly fine. He's not Tenpai, so he's still trying to figure out. Looks like Pezzy wants to take that hand towards a Honitsu. Jay passing up the chi there would be a bit tricky to take this hand to where you want it to with a chi, I think, so it makes sense. Muran picks up a 1-pin to go with their hand, of which appears to be some kind of... Not too sure. He's Shanten right now, but he'd have to throw out the Forsos if he wants to go to Chinitsu. Nosti did hit their Tenpai, waiting on the 5-8 so for this Richi Pin Fudora 1 hand. And it draws it immediately, just as someone hit Tenpai. What was that? Oh, no, that was Nosti's level, right? So, yeah. Oh, look at this hand from Baran. Wow. With the East Wind Dora, Jay having to eat quite an expensive sumo payment there for their position. He is not far from third, but if he wants to try and get much higher than that, he needs a very strong dealership here. Moran's hand gets even faster. They are Ishan 10. But it's not a favorable one, but obviously they can easily pick up a couple tiles here to improve that if they don't just outright draw it. Nosti picks up his second encore of the hand. And Jay, the dealer here, is Ishanten for Chitoi. With a Dora in hand. And only one discarded on the field. So he's choosing here whether he wants to take this Haku. But he does not take it. Choosing to keep the Chitoi Ishanten. He could have gone for some kind of a Toy hand, you know, just call, but the other tiles, you know, they're not as easy to call. You'd probably have to discard the Dora as well, which he doesn't really want to do. He probably wants to keep that value. There is Tenpai from Iran, but it's not a very great one.
Each.
They do take it, which is, I believe, just waiting on the 7-man 7-pin. Of which the last 7-man is in Pezzy's hand. The 2 7-pins remaining, one is also in Pezzy's hand. So one left for him. Jigoku await here from Iran. Jay still trying to get this Chitoitsu. They can't push this 7-so as it just came out from the Richi as Suji, which he does. He does other options as well, so. And he does draw one of them. You have to push the 5-pin here.
Each.
But he does throw it. So he's Chitoitsu waiting on the East Wind, which is also a Jigoku wait currently as things stand. Depending on what Pezzy draws, that 7-pin could flow out of his hand. He has drawn... Let's have a 6-pin, which he discards. Yeah, this is what I was worried about. He's got 2 Richis on the table here. does choose to fold with a 9-pin for now. And there's our last East Wind, which has gone snugly into Nosty's hand. So we're looking for this remaining 7-pin at this stage. Pezzy keeps getting the option to get back to a 10 pie here. He's safe tiles are in a bit short supply right now. Throws the 5-man here, which is safe versus the first Uchi, not as much safe versus the second one, but it was Nakasuji. Then throws the pairs of 9 serves since they just came out from Moran. And this will be going to Rikyoku, I imagine. Moran and Jay both Tenpai here. After, you know, it always kind of sucks to Richie on a hell weight. Which is basically the second best outcome you can really hope for here for Jay. Just to have this happen. Pezzy, again with a lot of honor tiles, chooses to take this East Pawn, as they do have an Anko of the South Winds. They are, in fact, Tenpai, waiting on the 6-9 so. Unfortunately, 3 to 6 Hoes are in Nosty's hand, but we see no 9 So's just yet. Jay does take a Haku Pawn here, which means that their hand speeds up quite significantly. Bit awkward here. He probably wants to make use of the Dora if he can. Even though it was probably the most obvious tile to discard at that point. Might be hoping to go towards a Honitsu from the pattern of his discards here, so depends on when he wants to push the Dora. Or if he wants to push Dora.
Chi.
Alright, Chi here from Nosty. Might be hoping to pick up a West Wind, I imagine. Hand can't really, well, can't at all get the Toy or anything else here. I'm trying to think of anything else they could really get, but yeah. They're just looking for the West Winds. They don't see, none have been discarded yet, so you can probably imagine one will come out if it does happen. Though he does discard them. Okay, so now he's moved to Tanya. I'm behind because I'm busy thinking in my head. So he is going towards Tanya. If he has drawn Dora here, so he's going to try and make use of his Dora. Luckily, he hasn't managed to discard anything around that area yet, so they can. He's not worried about any sort of Furitan shenanigans. Jay also picked up a second Dora while I've been babbling. He is Tenpai, waiting on the 5-man, of which there is one left. For Hatsu Dora 2 for Jay. And now all our players are Tenpai, and Jay gets there first. Yakuhai Dora 2 cashing in for a tidy free Han hand on his dealer turn, moving us to South 2. Muran again with a very nice looking hand, lots of Manzu tiles. Pezzy as well. 2 Akadora, 1 actual Dora, very nice hand. Bit hard to open this one, depending on how they want to play, and then yeah, it's gonna be more of a traditional hand. It looks like here for Pezzy, and Jay as well. But I mean, all the players here, very good hands. It's gonna be a matter of who gets what first. Jay really needs to try and hold on to this dealer as much as possible if he wants to have any chance of getting back into this game. 2-man pawn here from Moran will be taking him towards a Tanya hand. And a Haku pawn here by Nosti, who has 2 Dora in hand. Jay also has the option here to potentially go for Tanya. That is 10 by here from Iran, who does take the 5-8 Sozo weight for Tanya only. Three of the 5 mans are gone, 2 of the 8 mans are gone, so he has 3 weights left. It's going to be hard to imagine any of the players discarding them at this stage though, as they can all probably make use of them. Maybe the 8-man if it gets drawn here by Jay. He's pausing here on this 4-pin. Choosing to clean up the Sozo shapes here. Draws a 3-pin here, which he does Ricci on, breaking up his potential Pinfu hand for just a Ricci only, early on the 2-5-pin. But once again, a lot of those are taken up, and in fact, one of them by Jay, he's in Furiton. 6 soul here, draw by Pezzy. A bit concerned for them. A lot of dangerous tiles in his hand right now. There is the 5-so, which ends Jay's dealership here with Tanya only from Baran. Puts us to South 3. Pezzy as the dealer here is technically in last, but basically equal with Jay. So there'll be a fight between them to see who can take the 3rd place in this game. Meanwhile, Nosti really hoping here to try and win this hand to close down the amount of points they need to take back on their dealership to try and catch up to Moran. Meanwhile, Moran probably be looking to just try and close this game out, I imagine, at this stage. So, yeah, with a 4-pin Dora here, Jay's the only one who has one right now, which he has got in a nice little Pinzu shape here. Jay probably wants to just try and win a decent sized hand here to take a more secure 3rd place, I imagine. Last thing you want is letting the dealer win a turn here, because it's going to make it very hard to climb out of 4th. Moran had the option there for a Chi, but shapes are a little awkward for them. They do have an option here for a Tanya or Shabo sort of hand. They draw the 6-pin. Might be what they're looking to do. Jay himself with a pair of the South Winds might be. I mean, if you can take those, and then you've got a Dora. Yeah, it's not a great hand, but it is a hand. Nosti Chi 3-pin here does take them to Ishanten. Probably hoping to take the Hatsu as well for a Hatsu Dora 1. It's not a great win, but it's better than letting Moran take another win, or you know, something to that sense. You also don't want to let Pezzy go on a rampage. Obviously, you know, the more Pezzy ends up sumoing or, you know, potentially hitting you makes it harder for you to do make that comeback. The Haku does come. So they are Tenpai on the 1-4 man, of which there are it's hard, 3 left in the wall.
Each.
And Moran also hit Tenpai just there, waiting on the 6-pin. And Jay has also hit his Tenpai here, waiting on the 2-5 man. A bit tricky to see this, but I can do my best. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3 left for Jay also here. And the 6 pins, there is in fact 3 of those left, I believe. Go. There's the 4-man for Nasty. Does win his Yakuhai Dora Aka hand. Taking us to Orasu. Nasty here with a 15.7k deficit to make up. Try and get the first. Pezzy, unfortunately, taking that hit there has moved them into last. But with only a 3.1k gap behind Jay, they can easily snag third. Jay to get second here, it's quite a reach, but they're looking at what is that? It's like 20, 30, 37 and a half nearly to try and catch up to Nasty. And this hand isn't lending itself towards that sort of a point gain, unfortunately. 7-pin Dora, of which that we have seen 2 currently, 1 in Nasty's hands, 1 in Moran's hand. Moran also with a pair of Hatsu and a Chun and an Aka. They have more than enough value to happily call out the rest of his hand and take away the dealership from Nasty. Nasty, however, got a couple awkward shapes to try and deal with here, but these can obviously be filled. And yeah, he wants to try and like a 15.5 isn't too hard to get for a dealer, but also not simple if you end up having to open the hand. At least not in one turn, but he doesn't have to do it all in one turn. Hatsu does come out from J, which is immediately taken by Moran, moving them closer towards that Tenpai. Still with a bit of work left to go, but not too far. Nasty chooses to cut the Penchan here, which is taken by Moran, which puts him into Ishanten. 7-man here for Jay. Puts him into a position where he probably ideally wants to try and cut the Dora, but you know that cuts your value, and he doesn't have much value otherwise. Okay, Moran moves to a wider Ishanten with another Iso pickup. Jay once again given this option where you ideally want to try and cut the Dora, but it just feels a bit awkward, especially into this board. Even though there's a lot of Pinzu thrown down, you know, it doesn't lend itself. And he is rewarded by his patience by drawing a 6-pin to go with his 7-pin. So good on Jay for holding out there. That is Tenpai. No, not quite Tenpai. He's Ishanten, but it is a nice Ishanten for Jay. Meanwhile, Nasty, yeah, these awkward shapes he had, he hasn't managed. Oh, there's the 6-pin.
Boom.
But that causes the 5-pin to come out, which is Pond, to put Moran to Tenpai, 44-7, so wait. This is a bit dangerous here for Nasty. The wrong cut will end this Hanchan.
Gong.
And he does drop the 7, so unfortunate for Nosti. But Moran does take the win out here, taking him to a tidy 57k victory. Very happy points here for Itsuanko. Nosti retains his second place, not managing to fall to that 37k comeback here from Jay. Jay in third, and Pezzi in last. We'll see if we can get Moran in here for an interview. Let's check what's going on. They are just sorting out the tables here, so we might be a bit... We'll need to get an admin to get him the role to get into Discord here. I'll bring up the replay while I do this. That's not the one. Sorry, bear with me here. Stream, just waiting on the admins to sort things out. Don't really want to get in their way while they do all this. Hello.
Hello.
Congratulations on your victory there.
Yeah. Way too flowful. Nothing anyone else could do. I just had probably one of the luckiest games I've ever played, honestly.
Yeah, no, some of your high pies in this game were absolutely insane to look at.
Yeah, completely crazy.
But you managed to convert on them. I mean, pretty easily, and the way you closed out the south round, I think, was quite well done. Yeah. Is there anything you want to touch on about? I'm not very good at interviews, unfortunately, but yeah, is there anything you want to talk about in relation to this game, or?
Yeah, I mean, the whole game was a bit of a roller coaster for me. Honestly, if I didn't get so lucky, I probably couldn't have come first. But yeah, I did a couple of misclicks here and there, and a couple of just mistakes. A couple of them were complex hands. A lot of Honitsu or Toi hands. That was quite interesting.
Yeah, no. I really enjoyed the way you played the Hanchan. I think it was pretty well done all around. You managed to avoid any of the dangerous situations pretty well by not overextending and things like that. And yeah, you just converted where you could. Yeah, as you said, you had great flow. Yeah.
Crazy flow. But yeah, I just I feel like I'm not too used to playing this far ahead of everyone, so I feel like I actually sort of held myself back a bit too much in a lot of different situations. Especially that last hand, I remember I was kicking myself in the shin because I Sakigiri'd a 4-pin
Yep.
because it was too close to the Dora, and I was like, well, if anything happens with the dealer side, then I want to have at least a safe tile in my hand.
Yep.
But in retrospect, in hindsight, it's just like even if dealer reaches, you know, in order for me to close out the game, I feel like I had a pretty quick hand. That can close out the game, so I just feel like having a good shot at trying to end the game would have been better. So there was really no reason for me to play so passively. Just things like that, mistakes in the level of aggression and securing safe tiles. That I really, those were probably my most major mistakes in this game.
Sure. Well, yeah, I mean,
But other than that, I do think, you know, there was a lot of opportunity hands for me, and I think I took advantage of those hands quite well.
definitely, yeah. Yep.
A lot of tricky situations where I could either fight even though I'm already in first place, or I just fold here. That a lot of push forward decisions that I managed to go through. So yeah, turned out pretty well. So
Yeah, nah,
definitely happy.
Yeah, can't argue the results, that's for sure. Alrighty, well, no, thanks for the interview.
Alright, thank you.
Alright, have a good rest of your day.
Yep, you too.
Cheers, see ya. Alrighty, so, our next game here is already started, I believe, because it was going to be this one, if I'm correct. So we'll probably move right on to it. Yes. Yeah, so we are in East 2 here. Give me 1 second, I'll update the scene here with the correct players. So as you can see, we've got LMMD, Snowy RNG, No Name, and Unifan47. And I'll just quickly, I'm gonna update the info here. If I can remember how to navigate OBS. So we've got representing Unistar Fan Club, Unifan47. I could put in their Discord names, but I imagine, you know, they've done this for a reason, so we're just gonna leave it like this. Yeah, representing the FA team here, we have No Name, who I believe goes by Sam in Discord. I know there's stuff happening, sorry guys. Representing Ura-san, we have Snowy RNG. Boom. Doing this wrong, forgive me. And then lastly, representing John Can Run. Yeah. Is LMMD, who is also, as I said earlier, playing their first game of the league. And the sounds of things converting on it. On a Ricci here. So we got a Hanuman with an Ura 2 to kick it off. Very, very nice starting hand. Can't be upset with that, that's for sure. Alright, so Snowy RNG eating an Oyakuburi Hanuman. Unfortunate, looks like they had probably won the first hand, I imagine, based on those points. And having to immediately pay some of it back. Never a great feeling, never a great feeling. But, so we're in East 3. With a Haku Dora. Snowy has just thrown one of them. Second one remains in Unifan 47's hand.
Gee.
And No Name here has opened up with a 2-man Chi. Probably looking for Itsu here. I can only imagine. Meanwhile, Snowy, Ishan 10 with a potential Ipeiko, but they do cut it for just a wider hand. And LMMD here also now Ishan 10 if they choose to take it, but they cut the free so instead. I think that's Ishan 10. But this would move him to a different one. Again, I'm really bad at my Shanten counting. Apologies. And it looks like the decision to cut the free so was the correct decision here for Snowy, who does pair up the 9 so with a third tile, putting him into Tenpai, waiting on the 9-man 2 so for Richi only, but with the potential for a Sananko on Sumo. One 9-man and both 9 pins are left in the wall, so. And a Khan, revealing the 6 so Dora as the new Dora. Not too many people had really done much of 6 so yet. So that's pretty good for them. There's the 9-man. Unfortunately, no Sananko, but we take a Sumo when we get it. Unfortunately, misses all the Ura, as is tradition for a Richinomi. Taking away the dealership from the person who was in last place. It's never a bad thing. And we are moved on to East 4 here. 3-man with the Dora here. Unifan with 1 in hand. The rest remaining in the wall for now. LMMD here. Got quite a couple good shapes, but some hanging honor tiles for now. Snowy with a pair of the Hatsu. We'll be looking to scoop up that one from LMD's hand if it comes flowing out. Unifan completing another Ryanman. Puts them into Ishanten. With a quite a nice hand. He's got 2 Dora. Potential for Pinfu here.
Boom.
There's the Hatsu comes flowing out. This is the more expected outcome. LMMD maybe looking, they've held on to the 9 pin. Maybe looking to try and go for an Itsu of their own. And that is Tenpai for Unifan, but is missing the Peiko, not the Peiko, the Pinfu unfortunately. Choosing to cut the 6 pin, waiting on the 3 pin. Here for a Richi Dora 2. The 3 pin comes out immediately because it is Suji. And this is why we don't trust Richi Suji. Quick, easy Mangan for Unifan. Now puts them into first place, moving into their dealership. Very nice high buy here for LMD though. 3 Yaku highs they can pawn here, all for Yaku. So there'll be a decision of where they want to take the Han. Free Soul is the Dora. Nobody has one yet. They're all nestled tidily within the wall. Just giving a quick look around. Unifan, we have a couple of nice shapes. Potential here for with that 3 pin pick up for a Sanshoku. LMD has picked up the Chun. Haku comes out, which they immediately take. Moving towards a Pinzu Honitsu. They'll be hoping to grab the South as well and somehow pair up something else. That'd be the most ideal outcome. But you know, you don't look a Tenpai in what's it? You don't refuse a Tenpai if it comes. I think, especially after eating a Mangan direct. Never a good feeling. Snowy does take the Aka 5 so as it comes out. Hopefully I imagine looking to try and pick up the West Wind here, or try to take the hand to a Danyao, which they do now. No Name has picked up their Tenpai, which, oh man, this is gonna test me. So is it just a free so? I don't feel like it is. But no, I think it is just a free so. Wait, is it? It must be. So Dora Tanki for No Name. Or is it also? No, it's not. Yeah. LMD meanwhile picked up a Hatsu. Might be entertaining ideas of Shosangen here.
Boom.
But nah, 7 pin comes, they take it. Waiting on the 2-5 pin.
Boom.
But they do take the south as well, so they're gonna go into a Tenpai waiting on 4 pin Tanki instead. There's one left. It's not impossible. Chun now here for Snowy feels a bit awkward. You've just had your Kamicha call twice and displaying what looks to be a very obvious Honitsu. On board, they've already got, you know, 2 Han. If you put in the Honitsu, you're looking at an expensive deal in, especially if it's on the Chun. Quite scary. And Snowy does choose to hold on to it, at least for now. Meanwhile, no one else has managed to get close to Tenpai this yet. Unifan's picked up the south, which is safe. There's the Friso, which does come out, which deals into our dealer. He picks up Richidora 2 and 1 Ura to get the Mangan, just to rub salt into the wound of LMD. Taking us into South 1. LMMD with the dealership. The West Wind, for now, is not taken by Unifan. They do have a Honitsu looking hand with a Dora and Haku and loose South Wind for now. See what they choose to do with this hand. Obviously, you know, you play around what the tiles give you, so see what ends up going on. No Name picked up a lot of green tiles. Can't imagine we're gonna be seeing a Ryuso from here, but you know, never say never. They are Ishanten currently, I think. Yes, they are Ishanten currently. It's not a very good value though. I mean, you can pick up a Dora. You probably end up going, but we'll see. Maybe you dream for that Ryuso. Meanwhile, it looks like Snowy actually is going for a Kokushi, which they have, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 currently with 2 pairs.
Each.
No Name does choose to Sumagiri this Tenpai they hit waiting on the 5-so. 3 left of those in the wall. Maybe they've noticed Snowy going for this Kokushi and they want to discourage it. LMD also hitting a Tenpai, waiting on the 6-9-so. Doing a quick count. I think there is 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 left, 5 left, 3 left. 3 left in the wall currently. There's the 5 Soto.
Gong.
This does deal into no names. And here, one more Ura again. Taking that to a 2 Han hand. Taking away the dealership from the person in last place. LMMD will have a bit of work to catch up from here. Especially because no one else is quite as low right now. Looking to catch up to Snowy right now, who is almost 20k ahead of them. Never say never, but yeah, not looking great here for LMMD. Snowy, meanwhile, very good starting Hypai. And a Hatsu Dora, which we haven't found any just yet. No Name, meanwhile, also have a very nice hand. Can pawn the south, which they do. Cutting the pair of 6 months.
Chi.
Which is cheated here by Unifan, looking to take this hand to a Tanya. Since all these players are quite close in points, any win here feels quite good because you're taking a dealership away from somebody else. And none of these players conceded Dora as well. It's a bit worrying. You just want this hand to be done as soon as you can, basically. I imagine. Snowy still waiting here for this Tenpai. They move their hand to having a wider weight. They are currently missing a head, though it makes it a bit awkward.
Each.
There it is. 10 pipe. On the Sun mentioned 258 pin weight. Pinzu are a bit expensive on this board though. 3 8 pins and a 2 pin held up by Unifan. 2 5 pins and an 8 pin held up by No Name. Like, and all the pawns come out. No Name hitting Tenpai, waiting on the 6 9 pin. And Unifan also very close to Tenpai. There it is. They would be waiting on 6. Oh man, 6 7 pin, I believe. There's a 5 pin, which is one of Snowy's weights, which does come out. For a tidy 2-hand pickup on their dealership. Nothing to sneeze at. Puts them into first and No Name into third. Humber 1. Tuso being the Dora here. Of which we only see LMMD with 1 currently. I did notice No Name had, 2 dragons and 2 red dragons, a green and a white. Do cut the white. I always like to, you always have those faint hopes of a dream in the back of your mind. But seeing one get cut, yeah, you just cut it as well and go for speed, which they do here. Snowy has an Uncon of the West Winds, which they have not yet revealed. It looks like No Name will be trying to take this hand towards a Honitsu. Meanwhile, Unifan here, not quite Ishanten, but getting quite close to it. And Snowy also getting close to that Tenpai, still with the undeclared Westwind Arncondo. And that will get No Name closer towards their Honitsu, if that's what they want. They could just take the Chun only. Another pair here for Unifan. They had the question of if they wanted to take this hand towards Chitoi maybe, but yeah, not really, a bit late for that, I think.
リーチ
Tenpai for LMMD, which they are waiting on the 5-8 pin. Not too bad of a wait. 4 of those are left in the wall currently. Now with 2 Richis, oh sorry, 1 Richi and then 1 double call on table, Snowy chooses not to con their West Winds.
Each.
But they have hit Tenpai here, waiting on the 7 pin for a Richi Dora 2, no, Dora 1, sorry. This is Tenpai here for Unifan with a potential Sanshoku. But they do take the nicer 2-5 man weight, 2-5 soul weight, which does win. But he does draw the 2-so, which would have been his Sanshoku. Not much you can do about it. But that does take the dealership off Snowy, putting them back into 2nd place. Putting Unifan into a lead of just over 7k points at this stage into South 3 with their dealership to remain. Fortunately, LMMD hasn't really had the opportunity here to try and close that gap. It's still about the same as it was after they lost their dealership. But they're not out of it just yet. No one has broken away to a very conclusive lead, so still have the chance to make a comeback here at some point. Snowy hits their Tenpai, which I was just about to comment on. Oh man, this is one of these funny weights. It's like a 4... No, it's a 369 so wait. I thought for some reason the Manzu were involved, but they're not. They could even pick up a Sanshoku on the 6 or 9, I believe, is the Sanshoku. I'm like having brain issues. Yes. Unfortunately, 3 of the 9 so's are gone into Unifan's hand. 3 of the 3 so's are gone into No Name's hand. And there's only 2 6 so's left. So of your son Manchan, only 4 weights, which is, I mean, still a lot of weights, but you really want that Sanshoku here. That puts you into a very strong position. Richie here for LMMD as they hit Tenpai, waiting on 258 weight, which immediately comes out. And they hit 2 Aura here to hit a Hanuman. So there you go. As I was just saying, no one had broken away to a conclusive lead yet. This has put LMMD back into at least a strong consideration for at least 2nd. First is obviously still within reach. I'm trying to do quick math here, which is I'm really bad at, as you can tell. I think a direct hit Mangon puts them tied. That doesn't seem right. I think they're direct hit Mangon puts them 1,000 ahead, I believe. So yeah. Everyone for something to play for here, and LMMD with a very expensive looking hand, all the dragons. Unfortunately, the Haku are taken up by No Name, so probably not going to be getting any Daisongans, but they draw everyone. So yeah, but as is always the case with his hands, Snowy does hit a Tenpai first with their much nicer shapes, waiting on 4-7 pin. Currently a Richi Pinfu Dora 1. On the Takame, it's Richi Pinfu Dora Itsu Dora Hanuman. So with a couple Ura, could put them onto a Biomon. Meanwhile, LMD with this comeback hand of a Sentry can't find the dragon to save their life. Obviously the Hakus are taken, but the Chun is safe here. One Chun is safe here in Unifan's hand, the other still in the wall. No Hatsus have been drawn yet by any player. Everyone's trying to negotiate this Ricci here by last place. No one wants to deal in and be the person who causes last place to overtake them. They've drawn the 7 pin, they have to take it. It's unfortunate. No Ura, so it is left as a 6.2k hand. Unfortunate for Snowy, but that does move him up into 3rd place in the end. Unifan keeping their victory, being on 33,000 points. No Name in 2nd here with 26,800. Snowy sniping 3rd place from LMD right at the end there. After LMD made a heroic effort to come back in South 3. Unfortunate. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. I need to figure out which player we've got to see if they want to come in for interview. Unifan 47. Okay. Well, give them the option. We'll see what they want to do. Okay, yep, they should be here shortly. Just waiting on an admin to give them the privileges. Who this was? Yep. Right, I've done this right. Yeah. All right, just making sure. Hello, congratulations on your victory.
Thank you.
Very, very tight South round for you guys there. Scores were very close throughout pretty much the entire round up until the very end. I did miss the start of your game, unfortunately, because I was in the last match still. But is there any highlights you wanted to go over with this hand, specifically, or?
I have no idea. I don't remember what's it. Woke up right before the game, so I don't remember much of what happens.
So we can go. So you won this Hanuman here, just towards the end of East round, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
It was a sumo.
Yeah, sumo on the no, it was a run on the Suji freepin from Yorichi.
Yeah, that was pretty lucky.
Yeah, I was just saying, in the stream at the time, it's like it feels rough to trust a Arichi Suji, obviously, but it came out right away, which is really good for you. And then I think you hit Ura, right?
Oh.
No, it was later on. No. Someone else hit Ura too on something similar. But that put you right up into first round, and you pretty much stayed around that 30k area.
Yeah, try not to deal in from that point on.
No, it was a very good defensive play when you had to be defensive. And then you were just able to just hold on for the end. And then luckily for you, someone else was able to end the game, keeping you in first place. Because
Yeah, I wasn't sure how that last round was gonna go because I don't usually play with you have to give up your last dealership.
Yeah. It is a bit tricky. So yeah, you got bailed out there by Snowy in the end, but yeah, no, it was a good game. I'm not very good at interviews myself, really, but yeah. I'm just really impressed with how you played the entire South round, given how close the scores were after, especially after LMMD won that hand to bring the scores back a bit closer and everything.
Yeah, I wasn't too worried about getting second. I think the worst that would happen is I got second, so I just focused on not dealing in because I didn't want to go to fourth or third.
Yep.
So
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because keeping first, I mean, even second's fine, but yeah, you don't really want to be dropping down to last, especially with those point situations as they were. Yeah,
and I think my team doesn't have any points. So I don't wanna...
Yeah, no, well, yeah, I was just thinking that's a really good victory for your team because you're sort of sitting on that cusp right now, and that'll put you solidly up into contention moving into the second half of the season and everything. Yeah. Well, no, thanks for jumping in for the interview.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Very welcome. I hope you have a good rest of your night. And yeah, congratulations again.
Thank you.
All right.
Goodbye.
Bye. Alrighty. So what we'll do, normally I'd end here, but because I think there's one game that started a bit late, if it's still going, we can just jump in to see that. Because it has Jay here again, but it also has it has Totoro playing as a sub. So we'll just jump in and watch this as it just ends out, because it's practically done. We can see here pretty close scores all around. Hombre currently in the lead. I'll just turn off the players because it's not really vital right now. Totoro looking to try and probably pick up a Tanyao here, or even just sort of a Tenpai, but unfortunately not going to find it. Meanwhile, Hombre, we've got a Haite by IOSQ. Richie Haite Sumo Pinfu retaining their dealership, and I believe retaining their first, they were second. So yeah, managing to etch out a couple extra points here for the team. Very helpful. Totoro here in a troubling last place with no dealerships left. Do have quite a nice hand here to try and close somewhat a gap. Jay in third place here with their dealership to come will have to fend off Totoro trying to close the gap on them moving into their final dealership. Meanwhile, Hombre, this hand at least, couple hanging wind tiles, a couple loose odds and ends. Have a bit of work to do to try and move this hand closer towards a 10 pie. Meanwhile, dealer IOSQ, a couple pairs right now, but obviously pairs can be converted into triplets, or you can even end up going towards a Chitoitsu if that is more to your liking. Obviously that's kind of a preference for a lot of players. J, Ishan 10 here for... Is it Ishan 10 even? Not quite, I don't think. But getting quite close. He really wants to make sure Totoro doesn't close the gap on him. More than anything else, I think. Aka 5 so here for En Hombre. Puts their hand to having free Dora, which is a very nice place to be. Does have to figure out a Tenpai. They are Ishan 10. Potential to get to Tanya even. They have to draw 4 so. If they want to slow down their hand that much, but I mean, yeah. You probably just go with your Freedora and your Ichi, I'd imagine. And your Pinfu. Feels pretty good. Free pin here for Totoro is a nice pickup. You can cut the 2 pin, which removes the extra pair. So on a Dora or a Freeman, he has the potential to pick up extra Dora. Pretty nice. Jay can't quite find his Tenpai, unfortunately. He is doing his best. And a Chi here by IOSQ has moved them into Ishan 10 also. There's the 5-man that Totoro wanted. Ray does Richi on it, which is now waiting for a free 6 pin wait. Which I believe is dead, unless someone decides to discard one. And Humbre also does manage to draw their Forso, which now puts them into waiting for a 5-mana 6-pin Shabo. So we've got 2 players waiting on the 6-pin here, of which they're dead. Unless for some reason Totoro decides to throw his 6-pin. And the 5-mans themselves are also dead. So this will probably be going to Ryukoku. And it does so. IOSQ unable to retain their dealership unfortunately, but they are in first with everything to play for. Moving into South 4. Point gaps situation, IOSQ in first with about a 4k gap over Enhombre, 3.8 specifically. Enhombre in second with about a 4k gap over Jay. And Jay in third with a 8k gap over last place Totoro. So still definitely room for position shifts to happen here in Urasu. 6-pin Dora, which none have been drawn by the players as of yet. Enhombre with a pair of Chun could open up this hand for a quick Yakuhai if they so wish. It would not be enough to get them to first, however, without some extra help. Totoro with a lot of Sozo. He's got a new Peiko shaped field and is Ishanten. But he hasn't, not much value here. That is, I believe that is a Tenpai, but it kind of sucks. 2, 4, 7? No, not 7. That's 2, 4. Does keep the Peiko, but like, his hand just looks like a Sozo hand for him. I find it hard to think of somebody dealing into this, so they have to draw it, which he kind of wants to do anyway, but no Dora. He has Tanyao, but if he happens to get the 1, so he even loses Tanyao, it just doesn't feel very good for them. Ideally, you were trying to pick up something to connect to the 5-pin so you could call Sumo waiting on You know, waiting with a Dora or waiting on a Dora. And that also would have confirmed Tan Yao. It's just not great. But you know, you take what you get, I guess. You never know, Mahjong magic can happen. Yeah, it's what? Richie Pinfo Ipeiko. Yeah, it's possible. Meanwhile, Jay also desperately trying to hold on to the sealership is technically Ishanten here. But again, it's not a very good one. He'd also, most likely, he might be forced into a situation where he has to drop his Aka 5-so into what appears to be a Honetsu board. And this Chun as well is a bit of an awkward pickup, having found, you know, this far into the hand and no Chuns on the table. There's the Yasune here for Totoro, unfortunately. Richie, Sumo, Pinfu, Ipeiko. No Ura. He does manage to overtake Jay. Unfortunate for Jay, he eating a third and a fourth, I believe. It is opening foray. ISQ bringing home the victory for their team. And then Hombre holding on to a second. Which is a reasonable outcome. And just like that, we're done here with the games for Saturday night. Tomorrow will be Jay, hopefully with a more stable internet than has been in the past. Poor bugger. And that'll be it from me. Thanks for joining me. Again, I'm sorry, I've never really solo commentated Mahjong before, and I'm not the greatest analyst or speaker. Analyst. Words. But you know, doing my best, hoping to get a bit better. I appreciate you all for hanging out. As always, we do have a Twitter hashtag ARMA 2022. If you want to tweet anything out into the hashtag, your favorite plays, your favorite moments, anything like that, we're more than happy to see them. We'll be back again tomorrow night, same time, same place, same channel. Hope to see you there. And thanks for joining me tonight. Hope everyone has a good rest of your day or your evening or your night, depending on what part of the world you're in.